Okay, so issues with the camera jumping over, so we started a whole new video. So here we go, our Mondrian project. So this is what we're going to end up with. I have the space all broken up. I've got my primary colors and my black and white. So the first thing you're going to need is a piece of paper. It needs to be 8 by 8, so 8 inches by 8 inches. Now this paper, I've already cut it one way, but you can see I'm still too long on this side. So I wanted to show you, if you don't have a paper slicer that you can just measure and cut off, the easiest way to do it is to just take your ruler and you're going to measure over to your 8 and put a spot. I like to do 3 or 4 dots on my paper. Dot, and then I come down here and I do dot. Then if you take your ruler and you lay it against your, make sure you guys can see this, and you put it against your dots, you draw your lines, then I can just quickly cut it off. I'm good to go. I now have an 8 by 8 square. So what you're going to do is you're going to break this square into a grid of inches. So it's 8 inches by 8 inches. So you're going to take your ruler and you are going to line it up on your paper. Let's see if I zoom in a little bit here. Extreme close up. So what I did is I took my ruler and I went across and I just tap, 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 tap all the way across. I do that again so that I have 4 sets on my paper. And then that will create, forgot, put this right here. I'll show you one more time. So basically we're just dividing our paper into inches. Now, where I put those dash lines, I'm just going to take my ruler and put it at the top of my paper and make sure that I can see all those pencil marks, and I know that that creates a line. I do the same thing. I'm going to take all these dashes. I'm going to line up my ruler so I can see them all. Important thing, draw light till you have it right. So we're going lightly on this. We're going to erase quite a few of these lines. So please, please make sure that you are drawing really lightly as you go through and create your grid, okay? So you're going to go all the way. So we have our grid going one way. Now we're going to do the same thing going the other direction. So I already have my lines this way. So now I need to go this way. So I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to take my ruler. Whoops. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to say a dot, a dot, a dot, all the way across. And then I'm going to come here. And I'm going to go across, across, across. This is going to divide my paper into the 8-inch grid. Okay, I'm going to pause this and do it so I don't spend all the time showing you guys this, because you can do it. Okay, so I have my last spot here to connect, and you can see I've created a grid. I have 8 rows across, 8 rows up and down. The next thing you're going to need to do is take your paper and just tape it to your, tape it to your table, or I'm just going to tape mine here so it doesn't move while I'm working, okay? So now I need to figure out where I'm going to put my rectangles and squares. Okay, so now we need to divide this paper up. I placed these paper cutouts on here just to show you that this paper could be arranged so many different ways. Let me try to get right in the camera, the right spot. Okay, so you could have a big square down here at the bottom and a little square, and you could have your rectangles there, or you could maybe have your big square there and your rectangle here. There is no right or wrong way to divide your paper, okay? I made these little cutouts just as a way to show you, because sometimes it's hard to see with the pencil line on the camera. So when I started dividing my paper up, my grid, first I drew a square, and then I'm thinking here's a rectangle here, and I've got some lines there. I'm just going to come in, and all your pencil lines are just going to create more rectangles and squares. So here I have a 1, 2, 3 over, 2 up. So this will be my next shape. And I'm going to go ahead and do the edge on both sides. And this is going to create a rectangle here that's 3 by 2. Okay? So I have this shape in here and here. I have one here and here. Let's see. Again, by putting these on here, you can see it a little better. I think sometimes the camera doesn't show the pencil real well. So, whoops, that's a longer shape than I have. We'll cheat. We'll give him that. Okay, so I need, Mrs. White would like for you to have 6 shapes that you're going to find the area. So what I need to do is I need to finish breaking up these spaces. Remember, it's all vertical or horizontal lines. So here I'm going to break this shape up. And that created another long line. And I think here I'll break it this way. So you just want to keep breaking these shapes up to create rectangles and squares. You want all your shapes we'll pretend that one connects over. Here's another one. So I think I have, let's see what I'm missing. Here's my 3 by 3. So this is a shape here. Oh, see how this comes here? But it's making like a letter T. I want to close that off because it all has to be rectangles or squares. So that closed that shape off. But here, this is still an L, so I need to close that shape off. Okay, this one. And I have one more. Okay, so now when I look at my paper, I can see that I have all my shapes in the grid. They're only rectangles and squares. If I have any T or L shapes, you have to break those off. After you have all your pencil lines done, we did it light till we got it right. Now we're ready to make it darker with a marker. So I'm going to trace my lines with a Sharpie, and I'm going to be aware of where I'm starting and where I'm stopping. This is another reason that I taped my paper down, is so it won't move while I'm tracing my lines, and also I won't get ink on my table. Remember, we drew really lightly to begin with because we're going to come in and erase the majority of those grid lines. And if you do it really hard with your pencil, if you draw really hard with your pencil, it's hard to get rid of them. Okay, I think we just about got them. You're going to have to be really cautious when you are drawing your lines. Be really careful that if you get to a spot where you have to stop and pick up your pen to jump over another line so you don't break a shape. Oh, I have one more here. Okay, so you can see I have rectangles, rectangle, rectangle, rectangle. Oh, I have one more there. It's kind of tricky. Okay, I'm going to stop the camera and erase all my pencil lines, and then I will see you right back here. Okay, so I went in and I got all my lines erased really, really well. And that's another reason when your paper's taped down, that really helps. Got it nice and clean, and now it is looking like a naked Mondrian. So we need to give this guy some color. So for colors, remember, what are we going to use? Correct. Black, white, and the primaries. You can use paint, markers, oil pastels, chalk, crayons, markers, whatever you have is fine. You just want to make sure you have your primaries and black, whoops, your primaries, and you can use some black and then just leave some spaces for white. So you can color your shapes any way that you would like to. It's totally up to you. Just make sure that you do have at least one of each color, okay? After you have all your color laid down, it's time to start with the math. The math is going to be this. The first thing you're going to do on a separate sheet of paper is you will write the overall area of your art grid, which is 8 by 8, because remember it was 8 squares across. This is an inch grid. You're also going to write your overall perimeter of your grid, which would be 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. Then I want you to list your colors. So you have your 3 primaries, white and black. You need to choose 2 of those colors for area and 2 of those colors to calculate perimeter. 1 color you will calculate area and perimeter. So we can use my finished piece as an example here. So let's say remember I have to choose 2 areas, so maybe I'll start red and I'll do the area for red. So I know that this is 1, 2 by 1, 2. So on this line here for red, I would write, I'm just going to write it on this. I would write 2 by 2 equals 4, and that's my area, okay? So my area is 2 times 2, which is 4, and that's my area. Now, let's say we were going to do yellow. We could do perimeter for yellow. So I have 3 yellow squares, or excuse me, 3 yellow shapes. I can choose any of the 3 for my calculations. Let's say I'm going to use this one here. It's 2 by 1. So if I chose to do perimeter for that, I would say 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 equals, and 2 and 2 is 4, 5, 6, 6, and that equals my, whoops, perimeter, okay? Which I could have just written it on there. So 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 equals 6, and that is my perimeter. So remember, you need 2 for area, 2 for perimeter, 1 that's area and perimeter. So you have 5 colors, you have 5 things to calculate, okay? So if you have any questions, let Mrs. White or myself know, and we will get back with you. Can't wait to see your amazing primary colored grids. Good luck, guys. Of course, I know you guys know this. Always make your area tell your rate of measure. So 2 inches times 2 inches equals 4 inches square. And with your perimeter, 2 inches plus 2 inches plus 2 inches plus 2 inches is 8 inches. So make sure you do your units.